Welcome back, everyone. Today we're heading south, way south, down to Pasto, Colombia.
Oh, Pasto. Beautiful.
Yeah, for a celebration, a festival. That's, well, it's so much more than meets the eye, really.
Definitely, yeah.
We're diving deep into the Day of Whites,
Ah, yeah.
part of the larger carnival of blacks and whites.
Right. Which is really interesting.
Yeah, it's a fascinating one, for sure.
What's particularly interesting about this festival is that, it blends these indigenous traditions with influences from Spanish colonization, and then you throw in this vibrant Afro-Colombian culture.
It's really, like, all of
It
Colombia.
really is. It's a testament to the history there, all the different layers.
So we're not just talking about, like, a party, right?
Oh, no. We're going to unpack some serious cultural depth here.
Awesome. I'm excited.
Yeah. So the origins of the carnival, you can trace those back to these ancient agricultural and spiritual celebrations. And these were done by the indigenous people of the Nariño region, honoring these cycles of nature, the land, their connection to the cosmos.
It's amazing, to me at least, how these ancient practices still, can be felt today.
It really is. I mean, we're talking modern day celebrations, and you can still feel these ancient traditions.
The enduring power of tradition.
Yeah, for sure. And then the Spanish arrive, right?
Right, in the 16th century.
Yeah, 16th century. And now all of a sudden you've got Catholic festivities. They're introduced, and then they start to intertwine with the existing indigenous celebrations.
I mean, that had to be, like, a fascinating process. I'm imagining conflict and collaboration all happening at the same time.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. And all of that shapes what we see today.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, you get even more complexity because now you have enslaved African populations arriving.
Right.
Their music, their dance, their own unique rituals, and that gets thrown in.
Wow.
Another layer of depth and complexity is added to the carnival.
Like a delicate balancing act.
Oh, yeah. Trying to preserve all of these distinct elements.
But at the same time, you're also creating something new.
You are. That's exactly what makes the Carnival of Blacks and Whites so interesting.
Yeah.
It's not about one culture, trying to dominate another.
Right.
It's a genuine fusion, a dialogue between traditions.
So now, like, the white paint.
Ah.
Everyone's covered in it.
It's very striking visually.
Yeah, I mean, I imagine it's more than just aesthetics, though, right?
You're right. Painting yourself white on the Day of Whites, there's deep meaning there, symbolic meaning. I mean, yeah, on the surface, it's purity, unity, a blank slate.
Right, everyone's equal.
Exactly. But then there's this whole other thing. It reflects, this complex history of power dynamics, the ongoing struggle for equality in Colombia.
So, like, even though it signifies this unity, there's also, like, layers of historical tension.
Exactly. You can't forget about that. I mean, we're talking centuries of social and racial hierarchies here.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
And the indigenous and Afro-Colombian communities, they were marginalized, often marginalized.
It's almost like, you paint yourself white and it's this visual statement.
Yeah.
Like you're disrupting the power structure.
Right. But it's important to note that there isn't, a universally accepted interpretation of the white paint.
Okay.
Some, they see it as this powerful act of unity and a rejection of the racial divisions. But then there are others
Right.
who argue that it's oversimplifying things, that it's glossing over the need for some systemic change, that there are these complex issues of race and inequality that aren't addressed.
That makes sense, yeah. It's not about erasing differences.
No.
It's about acknowledging them.
Yes, but striving for something better, a just and equitable society. And that's what's so fascinating here. It's like this tension between unity and then this persistence of inequality. And it all plays out in this celebration.
Right. And that's what makes this deep dive so interesting. I mean, yeah, we could just look at the pretty pictures and the music, but we're doing more. We're going deeper. We're peeling back all the layers.
The history, the symbolism, the social dynamics, and that's what makes the Day of Whites so powerful.
And thought-provoking.
Very much so.
It'll make you think.
It's really interesting to think about, what it's actually like to be there in the middle of all of this.
Yeah, to be a part of it.
What would we see? What would we hear? What would it feel like to stand in the streets of Pasto on January 6th? Just imagine being right there in the heart of the celebration.
Well, first of all, the city's completely transformed.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Every single street It's pulsing with this energy, this vibrant energy, music everywhere, spilling out from every corner. It's captivating, really. This mix of like traditional Andean melodies with their haunting wind instruments, and then the rhythms, the infectious rhythms of the Afro-Colombian drums. And then you even get some modern stuff mixed in.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, splashes of like salsa and reggae beats. It's really something.
So it's not just a visual thing, it's a total sonic feast as well? Oh, yeah, absolutely. And that fusion of cultures that we were talking about earlier, I mean, you really hear it in the music.
Yeah, that's really cool.
And the dancing is just as diverse. You might see a group over here performing a traditional danza from the Andes with very precise footwork and, colorful costumes. And then right next to them, you've got a bunch of young people just freestyling to something modern. Covered in white paint, of course.
It's like everyone's participating.
They are.
In their own way.
Uh-huh. And then you have the costumes, which are incredible. I mean, some people just wear all white, keep it simple. But then others, they create these elaborate handcrafted outfits.
Oh, wow.
With feathers, sequins, masks, intricate masks, actually.
You mentioned masks earlier.
Yeah.
What kind of masks would we see at this festival, at the Carnival of Blacks and Whites? And, what do they represent?
Well, they add a whole other dimension to the celebration.
Oh.
They really do.
Yeah.
Because each mask is symbolic. I mean, you might see one depicting a mythical creature, something out of indigenous folklore. Or, a mask representing a historical figure. And these figures could be from Colombian history. Or, even from the broader sweep of Latin American history.
Each mask is telling a story.
Exactly. And they transform the wearer. I mean, when you put one on, you can embody a different persona. You can shed your inhibitions.
Yeah, masks have that power, don't they? They kind of liberate you a little.
They do. And I think that sense of liberation is amplified by the fact that, everyone's wearing white paint. It creates a sense of anonymity, like everyone's equal.
Right.
And it's interesting, the white paint really does act as an equalizer. You know what I mean? It blurs the lines between different social classes and ethnicities, even age groups. It's like everyone's on the same level.
That's really cool. So people can just let loose, be playful, connect.
Yeah. And I think that brings us to another really important aspect of the celebration. It's cathartic. People are letting go, experiencing this release, this emotional release. And I mean, this goes way back. For centuries, indigenous and Afro-Colombian communities, they used music, dance, ritual to cope with oppression, to express themselves, to strengthen those communal bonds.
That's really powerful.
And that's what we're seeing here. It's echoes of these ancient traditions, of resilience, of resistance.
It's more than just a party. It's like an expression of something.
It really is. And it's important to note that this catharsis, it's not just for one group of people.
No.
No. Everyone participates. Everyone finds meaning. Everyone experiences that release in their own way, and it's a shared experience. You'll see whole families dancing together, children just laughing and throwing paint, older people sharing stories, sharing wisdom.
So the Day of Whites, it's a modern celebration, but it also has these ancient roots. And I think that's what makes it so interesting.
Yeah, for sure. And don't forget that theme of unity,
Yeah.
which is so important here. But again, it's complex.
Right, because it's not just about pretending that everything's fine.
No.
It's about acknowledging these inequalities.
Yeah. And the ongoing struggle for social justice. I mean, Colombia is still working towards that.
Yeah. And it seems like the Day of Whites, with all its tradition and catharsis and social commentary, it creates this platform where those conversations can happen.
Absolutely. People can come together, celebrate their shared humanity, think about their history. Imagine a future where those divisions don't exist anymore.
It's fascinating to think about how traditions like this one, the Day of Lights, manage to stay relevant,
Yeah.
like how they stay vibrant.
Yeah, it's not easy.
It's not like it's a museum exhibit,
Right.
frozen in time.
Yeah. It's got to evolve.
It's alive. It's breathing.
Yeah.
So how is the Day of Whites adapting? How is it changing in the 21st century?
Well, one of the most interesting changes, I think, is this growing awareness of environmental sustainability.
Okay.
In the past, people used a lot of aerosol paint sprays, but now there's this real push to find eco-friendly alternatives.
That makes sense. If you're celebrating this unity with nature,
Yeah,
you don't want to be polluting the environment at the same time.
exactly. So you'll see more people using natural dyes and water-based paints, which
Mm.
are, much better for the environment.
Yeah.
And there are even some initiatives to collect and recycle the used paint afterwards.
That's really great. It shows that they're committed to preserving not just their traditions, but also, the planet.
Yeah, it's great to see.
What other ways is the Day of Whites, evolving? What other changes are happening?
Well, another big one is this focus on inclusivity
Okay.
and
right.
representation. I mean, traditionally, this was very much a local affair,
Yeah.
but now they're trying to involve more people, more diverse groups,
Okay.
like the LGBTQ plus community and people with disabilities.
Yeah.
It's really great, making sure everyone feels welcome and, making sure everyone's represented.
I mean, that's really what the Day of Whites is all about, right?
Yeah. It is. And it's not just about participating. It's about giving a voice to these communities so they can express their own interpretations of the celebration.
I was thinking about how social media must have impacted this event.
Oh, yeah.
It's so visual,
Yeah.
and the culture is so rich, it seems perfect for sharing online.
It is. Social media has given it this whole other platform.
Mhm.
It's huge for showcasing the beauty of the Day of Whites and its message to a global audience.
Quite a lot.
Now people all over the world can see it, experience the energy through photos, videos, stories.
Like a window
Yeah.
into this world. So many people will never have the chance to travel to Pasto, but now they can experience a little bit of it.
Exactly. And it's not just one way. I mean, people in Pasto can now connect with people all over the world,
Okay.
people who are celebrating similar things.
It's a global community now.
It is. It's this ancient tradition being woven into this digital world.
That's amazing.
Mm.
So we've learned so much today about the Day of Whites. As we wrap things up here, what's the one thing you hope our listeners take away from all of this? What's the key takeaway?
Well, I think it's important to remember that the Day of Whites is so much more than just a festival. It's more than just like a party. It's an expression of, human resilience. It's about cultural fusion, the quest for unity and equality. And it's not just about the good stuff either. It
Right.
shows the complexities of Colombian society.
Yeah.
But I think it also offers hope, a possibility of a better future where we embrace those differences and celebrate what we share, what makes us human.
That's beautifully said. It really is a reminder that even though there's so much division and conflict in the world, there are still these moments, these places, where people come together and create something special, something that goes beyond borders and speaks to, what we all long for.
It does, and I think it's a message we should all cherish and share with each other.
I agree. So to our listeners, we encourage you to dive in, keep exploring, learn more about the Carnival of Blacks and Whites, the music, the dances, the history, and let it inspire you to embrace diversity, to promote unity, and to celebrate human culture in all its forms.
And remember, our deep dive might be ending, but the celebration keeps going.
It does. Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, keep diving deep.